you, so that we can create more visibility. The key takeaway that I hope everybody has today is that this is the beginning of a better connection, more transparency, co-creation of this full grant program. Today, we're going to go through real quick who JCOD is, why we work with a third-party administrator, what grantees should expect from us, and how we stay connected going forward. Hopefully that sounds good. I'm going to set some context for all of the work that all of us do. This map is one of my favorite maps to look at because it just shows how big, how vast LA County is. I want this map to set the stage for all of us. This map represents the landscape that our families have to navigate to go through the systems that they're working with and the systems that we together are trying to transform. LA County is one of the largest counties in the country. It covers over 4,000 square miles. There's over 10 million people who call LA home. Grantees are spread all over this map. The county is governed through cities and unincorporated areas. We have 5 large supervisorial districts, and you all remember when you applied for the CARE grants, you had to indicate which supervisorial district your services were provided in. This is very key. Even with the support and resources that are available, there are some parts of LA County that are resource deserts. This is where we all come in. Little origin story of like how JCOD came to be. JCOD is almost the youngest, if not second youngest, department in the whole county. We launched in November of 2022. I'm going to share a little of the backstory about how that came to be. JCOD just exists. I want you to know that JCOD exists because of the community need, the demand for more coordinated, intentional response. We're empowering you to be the heroes of your own story. JCOD is not created above, it's created because of. It's created to make sure that fragmented services and missed opportunities are no longer the case. This is us at our retreat last year. So a little bit more about why JCOD was developed is to unify services. Alternatives to incarceration services had offices or services throughout many different county departments. When we did this, they were kind of siloed. So if you can think one department's not necessarily talking to another, we want to unify services to make sure that it's coordinated across the county for justice impacted people and communities. We wanted to disrupt incarceration cycles, to offer alternatives to jail, especially for nonviolent offenses. We want to provide support for successful reentry into society. Another thing is we wanted to implement the care first vision. It's to build systems that prioritize care and services and community investment over punitive measures. So that's where Measure J comes in. We also wanted to empower communities to fund and support local nonprofits like you all, who serve vulnerable populations, to give resources like job training and housing and healthcare. We want to reduce the population and especially closing Men's Central Jail. So to reiterate, JCOD was not developed above, it was created because. JCOD has a ton of programs that we do in-house, and they're in various categories. A few here are community outreach, capacity building. We do pretrial and diversion work. We have site-based programs. We have workforce and housing programs, and you could read this list. You'll have access to it after this call. But I want to bring your attention to two in particular, and those are Care First Community Investment, which is the team that I work on with Aloka, and our Incubation Academy. So these are the two programs at JCOD that support organizations such as yourself to help to build your capacity. And part of what I'd like to discuss is a little bit more drill down about how we do this. So capacity building opportunities are for growth and for connection where it makes sense, because you're part of a county ecosystem now. As part of CFCI, you'll have access to pools of unprecedented amounts of funding. The CFCI dollars, they're big, as you know. Over $300 million annually go into the CFCI efforts. This whole CFCI program is a systems change program. The system had to change to even create this pool of money. There are opportunities for you to expand and build on what you're already doing. We have the Incubation Academy that provides all sorts of support for organizations to build up the services that they offer. And we are working on creating more collaboration opportunities for grantees to learn from county programs and vice versa. So what is CFCI funding? What is this program? Did I did I stop the video?
Nope, we can still see your screen.
Okay, I'm so sorry. There we go. So what is CFCI? This looks like just a tiny little circle. It's just one little program. It's just one little thing. But is it really? I think most of us who work in the CFCI world know that it's complex. So this little graphic, as complex as CFCI is, I'm hoping will not be scary as I go through it. Okay, so let's better understand CFCI, this ecosystem that I talked about. What does CFCI even mean? Why was it created? Who are the key players? And where do you, the CARE grant grantees, fit in? So CFCI is at least 10% of locally generated unrestricted funds. Locally generated means tax dollars. So taxpayers in LA County pay money into the county. 10% of a portion of that gets put into the CFCI pot. CFCI started off with Measure J. So I'm going to give you a quick history lesson. So don't fall asleep in class. There's no quiz or anything like that after this. But I'm going to give you just a quick highlight history lesson. CFCI funded comes from at least 10% of locally generated unrestricted funds, and it came through Measure J that was passed in 2020. There was a lawsuit that came about claiming that Measure J was unconstitutional. So the Board of Supervisors, through Care First Community Investment in the spirit of Measure J, made funds available for alternatives to incarceration. So Measure J is like the mother of CFCI. It's the same spirit going through the both of them. Who are the key players in the CFCI ecosystem? It will be LA County community, the ones who voted for Measure J. It will be the LA County Board of Supervisors who put the ballot measure forward. See JCOD that got created in 2022 to administer CFCI, the CEO, the advisory committee, the grantees, county departments, all of us are part and the main stakeholders, and also the people that are receiving services that you guys do all every day. How does CFCI do what it does? It does it through direct community investment, and we do it so that we can have alternatives to incarceration. And how do we do this? We do it through issuing care grants, and we fund county programs that runs programs in conjunction with you all. So this is CFCI. The Board of Supervisors and JCOD are committed to advancing the care first approach. This is how we can best serve justice involved individuals of LA County. The CFCI investment is a significant investment and it builds up our collective capacity to achieve the mission. So let's take a deeper look at the stakeholders. When we think of CFCI stakeholders, it's a cross-sectorial group. We're from different backgrounds and we provide a wide range of services. When you see this group, you'll see yourselves in the group, but I want to paint a picture for you. Think of a football team. On a team of football players all going towards the same thing. They want to win the Super Bowl. That's the goal. Everybody that's on the team is working towards the same goal, but everybody on the team has a different function. Everybody doesn't function the exact same way, but we're all working together to achieve the same goal. And that's a reduction in incarceration. So there are three main functions of all of these stakeholders. The first is governance and administration. And here's the group that does that. The Board of Supervisors, the Chief Executive Office, JCOD, and the CFCI Advisory Committee. Think of these as the coaches. Then there are the folks doing implementation. That is county departments with the TPA and care grant grantees. That's you all. You are the team. You are the players that are on the field working every day tirelessly, going to practice, going to the big games. You are the superstars. Then we have uh, the beneficiaries of all of this. And even though we think of the people coming to your programs as the beneficiaries, I feel like this is not the only beneficiary here. You all are beneficiaries of CFCI. A change in the system is a beneficiary of CFCI. County departments are beneficiaries of CFCI, the advisory committee. So all of us, it's like a community impact that's happening with this program. I'm going to touch a little bit about how the funding goes from concept to you all. It takes about a few steps, and I'll walk through each of them. And again, you'll have copies of this after this presentation. So think of the first step as the CFCI Advisory Committee gathering and reviewing needs assessments. There was a recommendations list that was collected recently, and I think some of you were a part of that. So the advisory committee gets ideas of what the community needs from various stakeholders. They then also get outcomes data and they get spending plan data from JCOD and the CEO. Once the advisory committee gets all of this information, they make decisions and they make recommendations back to the CEO for what things should be funded. So the recommendations are not grant solicitations, they are a needs assessment that's done to see what types of programs should CFCI fund. Once these funding recommendations are created, the CEO reviews the recommendations that they receive from the advisory committee, and they prepare a more formal recommendation that goes before the Board of Supervisors for their consideration. The the Board of Supervisors reviews these recommendations, they may make adjustments, and then they vote on spending plans. Once they vote on the spending plans, the spending plan becomes law. This becomes what's going to be funded with these county dollars. JCOD now comes in and JCOD administers the spending plans. We do this through the county departments and through third-party administrators like Amity. County departments and third-party administrators then contract with CBOs who receive the CFCI funding, and you guys use it to run the CFCI board-approved programs. And then last step, JCOD and the CEO prepare outcomes data and spending plan reports for the CFCI Advisory Committee, and then this process starts over again. Grants are awarded through a third-party administrator. What is the value of us using and working, partnering with third-party administrators? It's so that we can give you more support. The county is sometimes challenged. The county process is different for different types of organizations. And we wanted organizations that don't normally get county funding to get it through this program. This is a systems change program to develop that. So the TPAs are not the owners of the funding. CFCI still remains, the JCOD and the CFCI Advisory Committee still remains responsible, and the county still remains responsible for the funds. I'll walk through a little bit of the value of the TPA. One, TPAs offer support to organizations to help the CBOs with startup requirements, like helping with insurance and helping to get all of the things in place that they need to be able to manage these funds. The TPAs invest a lot of time and invest the time required to have a broad set of community stakeholders, ensure that equity is adhered to, and that there's community representation. They also assist CBOs in creating milestones, in reporting outcomes, and plans to justify the advancement of this funding. Without data, there's no justification to keep funding the CFCI programs. One of the other things that is a value, and these are just four, there's many more, but these are the four big ones that we're discussing today, is that they invest time that's required to support you, office hours, technical assistance, and the like. How can grantees be a part of the process? A part of this ecosystem process and a part of the decision-making process and just a part of the CFCI grant program, the CFCI Care Grant Program, and how can we help to build it? We want to make sure that your inclusion is concrete and not just symbolic. So JCOD and the advisory committee, we're thinking right now through some more robust community engagement strategies. Samples of these could be that we have representation in the advisory spaces. For example, there is an advisory committee meeting tomorrow. The CFCI Advisory Committee meets every third Thursday of the month, and tomorrow is that day. So January 15th from 4 to 6 p.m. It's an in-person meeting, but you can also join via Zoom. And I will make sure that I share the link for that through at the end of this talk. We're hoping to have some town hall events and some peer learning that's coming. So we would like to be able to get your feedback on what these opportunities could look like. So look out for some surveys that will come in the future. We're committed to closing the loop and not just collecting input. We've heard from you. I know Amity has been collecting the thoughts that you've already shared about what you'd like to hear more on, things like financial management topics. And one of the topics that's top of our mind is invoicing. We've heard from you. We know that invoicing has been challenging for you throughout the course. So we are working on ways to um, rectify that. Another topic that has come up is grants and sustainability, how to apply for grants, what your elevator pitch needs to be, that sort of thing. And data and outcomes reporting, how to do it, why it's necessary. Um, Data is extremely necessary. I know it's painful to collect sometimes, but it helps to justify the CFCI funding. So this list is not a schedule. This is just a list of ideas that we felt like we've heard from you. And we will work together to come up with a way to disseminate this. So either some of these topics may be handled by the TPA or by JCOD, and we can do it in many ways. We can do webinars or office hours, and we'll give more information as we build out this open communication. That was it. If you have any questions, I look forward to working with Aloka and Ariel on them. I thank you all so much for your time and for listening. And that I think we're there.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much for all of that information. We have a few questions in the Q&A, and I'm sure more will come in as we answer them. And then we have a couple hand raised. So we'll start with the ones that came through in the Q&A that have not been answered yet. So someone said, I recently learned that the recent county measure to add the additional county supervisors to the board will be tapping into the CFCI dollars. Do we know what the reduction will be from these funds overall for these new county positions? And I believe that question was answered in the Q&A feature, but someone followed up and said, what is the current state of Measure J in the context of Measure G and the protections in place for Measure J?
I'm going to pass that to Aloka. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a great question. Yes, I answered a related question in the chat that with regard to the amount of funding that's available, I just wanted to share that we'll continue to share a little bit more information on this in the CFCI advisory committee meetings. As far as our team has been informed, there's been no changes to the funding pot for this particular addition of additional county supervisors. But there is indeed some listening sessions that are happening right now on Measure J and Measure G that folks may want to avail of. So I believe there have been some events at the end of 2025 and some starting in 2026 that are hosted by folks who work for the Board of Supervisors. And we can make sure to get information out about what those listening sessions look like. JCOD is not involved in any of the Measure J and Measure G discussions, but we are very committed to ensuring that Measure J's vision is playing out in LA County, and we'll continue to reinforce that with this group and in all of the spaces that we're a part of.
Thank you, Aloka. The next question is, how can we get our data from Apricot for other funding? I can answer that question. Please reach out to your grant advocate or to the Amity Help Desk, and we can help arrange getting that data pulled from Apricot for you. Some thank yous in the chat, Ruth. This is very helpful. What does the CFCI stand for?
Great question. CFCI stands for Care First Community Investment.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. It started back from Care First, Jails Last, and this CFCI became a way for that mission to be driven forward. So I think that's what Measure J stood for, and CFCI is just the funding mechanism for that. So Care First Community Investment. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is, we're in our last year of a multi-year award. When will there be a call for more funding?
I'm going to let Aloka do that one.
Awesome question. This is exactly the type of stuff that we wanted to hear today. So we just started pulling together a listserv of folks who may be interested in grant opportunities. So I did send that as an answer to someone else's question, but I'm happy to put that in the overall chat so everyone can access that.
Thank you, Logan. I can also send out that link in a follow-up email to everyone who attends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariel.
The next question I can answer, when will we be able to have a schedule of these those proposed trainings or informational sessions? I actually think this question is related to your earlier slide, Ruth, about the additional opportunities.
So I'm going to be working with the Amity team, the operations team, Joanne and team, to come up with some dates. But and I maybe if I can get some feedback from the people in the audience just on this call right now, Ariel, maybe we could use that Q&A. If you put in like how often would you like to hear from JCOD in a webinar style? Would it be quarterly? Twice a year? Would it be bi-monthly, like every other month?
Yeah, feel free to drop that in the Q&A feature and it looks like some people are already doing so. Perfect. We can gather that information.
And the other thing is we definitely are going to be working on a survey so to solidify this so that we're not creating something outside of what you are asking for. So look forward to that soon. But I'll be working with Joanne and her team to come up with what the topics will be. We'll share the ones that were already on this list. And I think this is what people have already shared to JCOD. To Amity. And Amity shared it with us. So we have a little bit of a head start about what it would look like.
Thanks so much, Ruth. Next question, if funding is continued, how will we be informed, or is there more funding to continue to help our program grow?
We're gonna play virtual tag, Ruth? No, I'm happy to answer this one.
Okay.
I just dropped a link into the chat for everyone. Hopefully everyone is able to see this. You can submit your information through that form to be added to our grant opportunities listserv, where you'll hear more about any releases of new opportunities through CFCI. On the funding continued question around what I'm assuming is funding extensions, I see another question a little bit further down that relates to this. Funding for year 1 and year 2 grants was extended until June 2027, and I believe that the Amity team has been in conversation with a lot of you about that. But Ariel, please let me know if there's anything you want to add about that.
No, I think that clarifies that. And then I think as far as how will you be notified, joining that listserv, I think is the best way to do that. Thank you. Um, Appreciate your presentation. I think just this is more of some feedback, speeding up the reimbursement dollars to less than 30 days would be helpful. I'm not sure if you all have anything for that one.
I'll just say thank you for your feedback. We are looking into opportunities to continue to improve the reimbursement process and also information around the invoicing process. So our team will continue to be in touch about how we can make those improvements and make sure that this meets everybody's needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Some more thank yous. There was a motion before the Board of Supervisors to protect Measure J. Do you know the status of that?
I don't.
Same here, but I will say that the Board of Supervisors has indicated in their verbiage that they are committed to continuing to invest in Measure J. The best information about that would come through Board of Supervisors meetings and continuing to keep abreast of any of their agendas that are coming out in the next few months. So I can drop the link as well to the board meeting agendas so that everyone has that on hand in case you want to join any of those meetings.
Thank you. Do you all send out details to CFCI grantees about every advisory council meeting? If not, how can we get that? I will be sending out the information after this meeting. And maybe you all can share the schedule again of when those meetings occur.
Sure. So the CFCI Advisory Committee meetings are on Thursdays, not every Thursday, the third Thursday of the month if it doesn't fall on a holiday. So the third Thursday of every month is the CFCI Advisory Committee meeting. They are in person and they are from 4 to 6 p.m. There's also a Zoom link that will go out with it. I will be sharing the link. It's not on this presentation, but when when I do share the presentation, I'll make sure that that link to the calendar for those meetings is on there.
Thank you, Ruth. Let's see. I think this one might have already been answered. Will there be more opportunities to apply for future grants for CFCI funding for orgs that are reaching their final year with current CFCI funding? The listserv, the best answer for that.
Yeah, and yes, there will be more opportunities. So please do look out for that through the listserv.
Thank you, Aloka. Will be there be new grant cycles. Year one grantees receive considerably less money than the next years. Will we be able to apply for larger amounts in the future?
That is also a yes. And part of why the extensions for year one and year two grants occurred was because there were fewer dollars available to be distributed in those years. So we are hoping that that will also be a welcome change to the continued funding landscape for CFCI. Thanks.
Thank you, Aloka. Okay, can we get clarity on the grant application review process that continues to be very vague?
I believe that the Amity team would be the best folks to answer that question, but perhaps that would be better for a different webinar, maybe something in the future for us to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think that's some information we can share in a future webinar. Thank you, Aloka. Will some program areas receive extensions? Want me to quickly answer that one, Aloka? So for year one and two, the grants were extended until June 2027, end of June 2027, and those organizations have been notified of that extension. After the 36-month term is over, will there be opportunities for renewal?
There will be a process that's put in place through the CFCI Advisory Committee over the next few months on the framework for what decision-making is going to look like for reallocation of funding. over the next few renewal periods, essentially. So please do look out for more information through those CFCI Advisory Committee meetings. If you're able to attend those meetings as well, you can hear directly from committee members and also provide your input during the public comment period if there's anything that you want them to consider.
Thank you. Are CFCI grantees in year 1 and 2 who are getting extensions to 2027 getting additional funds to support their contract extensions?
When you say get additional funds, what do you mean? Could the person who asked that question, because so the way the extension works is the amount of funds that your quarterly allocations are, that number stays the same. The thing that's going to extend is the number of months till the end of your term. So I don't know if it's additional funds. It's an extension of the time. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, that question was asked anonymously, but if the individual wants to kind of expand on that question, we can answer as well. Then we have some feedback on your question about how often, which I'll share, Ruth. In the last advisory meeting, it was mentioned that year 1 and year 2 grantee funding would be extended to June of 2027. What is the status of that? Is it confirmed? So we've talked a little bit about that. Today it was confirmed and the grantees have been notified of that extension. Let's see, monthly, okay. When will RFPs be released and is the plan for sustainable funding?
There's no set timeline at this point for RFPs to be released, but please do keep track of that through signing up for the listserv that's in the chat.
Thank you. See, I'm gonna scroll through. Okay, someone said this helpful feedback. Would appreciate a quarterly interactive gathering. That's helpful feedback. Let's see. Thanks everyone for sharing kind of the frequency you'd like to see. Okay, someone said, oh, it looks like Aloka, maybe you're responding to that one in text, but if you want to go ahead and answer live, how can one respond or apply for the Incubation Academy?
I'm so glad you asked, because part of the reason why Ruth shared all of these capacity building opportunities that JCOD has was to get folks involved in all the things that we do. I'm going to drop the link to the Incubation Academy waiting list into the main chat, and I also answered that question with the waiting list as well.
Thank you. And then some feedback. I think also program development trainings that are in alignment with the spirit of Measure J. That seems to be a huge gap that hurts those orgs who are trying to live up to the spirit of Measure J.
Thank you for that feedback.
I'm not sure what this one is referring to, but how do you apply for the annual 300 million? I'm not sure. Aloka, if you want to answer that one, or if they want to provide some more context.
Ruth, would you like to share a little bit more about kind of the framing that you had provided earlier?
Yes, so 300 million is the total CFCI budget. It's not just the CARE grant budget. It's not the pool of grant funds only. The 300 million is what the 10% of the locally generated unrestricted funds equals, and it goes across the board to support county programs as well as CARE grants. So that's not the full, that full amount is not the amount that the CARE grant program gets.
And relatedly, I know this was not a question, but I think what might be helpful to add to this, to add some detail to what we've shared about this 300 million is that, as Ruth noted, the Care First community investment is kind of an ecosystem, right? So we're looking at both the care grants that community-based organizations receive through the third-party administrator, through Amity in this case, as well as the funding that the Care First Community Investment offers to county programs that are contracting with community-based organizations as all part of the same umbrella. That plus any of the capacity building opportunities that are part of the Care First vision that both JCOD as well as some of the other county departments are implementing. So we'd love for folks to think about yourselves as part of this larger ecosystem. And whenever there are additional funding opportunities, we will, of course, make sure that we're able to share those with you guys, whether that's through the third-party administrator or even through county departments that are looking for additional community-based organizations to help them with services.
And then I do see a few questions about the grant funding extension for year 2 grantees. If you've not yet been contacted by our team, I'm writing these names down to ensure that we reach out to you directly. Someone says, is there a way to automatically be notified of other county funding from different departments?
I love this question. Not right now through us, but I think we can look into that and see if there's opportunities for us to be able to share on a broader scale from JCOD's side, like here's some of the funding opportunities we've seen at the county, and be able to communicate that a little bit better from our end. So appreciate that. We'll write it down.
Thank you. There are a lot of programs ran by JCOD. Will this hurt organizations by moving our services in-house? We have seen this in the past.
Go ahead, Ruth.
When you say move the services in-house, because even though JCOD does run a lot of programs, JCOD also runs those programs through CBOs. So JCOD doesn't actually run, there's maybe pre-trial that is a large team, but all the other JCOD programs are done through CBOs. So when you say in-house, you mean the CBOs being a part, getting county contracts, or I need a little bit more on that.
Thank you.
And I'll just add really quick that part of the Care First Community Investments goal is to also put money directly into community-based organizations' hands. So the fact that JCOD also runs programs will never be intended to take away from any community-based investments that are also being provided simultaneously. We think that these are both really important goals to accomplish.
Thank you. Lots of questions about the extension. So what year was the extension for? And again, will this mean our overall award dollar amount will increase?
So I'm going to say yes. So all of the program areas in year 1, so that's program areas 1 through 7, and all of the program areas in the spending plan, the year 2 spending plan, those are 9 through 22,
21.
21. So 9 through 21. Those program areas 1 through 7 and 9 through 21 are extended until June 30th, 2027. So the 3-year total, the number that's on your agreement with the third-party administrator, that says what your total award is, your total 36-month award, that number is going to go up. So that's a yes.
Thank you, Ruth. Will there be a master agreement? I'm not sure. May want to provide a little more context to that question. Let's see.
This may also be something that ends up being a more helpful question for our contracts division to answer. So we're happy to take this question back to other folks on our team if someone wants to add a little more detail in the chat.
Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry if you already answered this. We have local organizations, including us, that want to be a part of the JCOD incubator, but so far only one of the groups has been included. Is there a way we could work with you to have an incubator session for our community that many groups could attend, or a special incubator for CFCI groups?
Ruth and I are smiling because we just had a conversation about how we'd love to create more creative opportunities for us to do these activities with CFCI grantees. So more information to come on all of that, but we are actively thinking about more opportunities to provide that type of assistance.
Thank you. And I know there's a few of you with your hands up. We are coming to the end of the Q&A section here in the chat box. We are optimists, but can JCOD make plans for wrapping up programs that will not get renewed funding, more specifically to protect people who may be impacted by the sunset of funding?
Paul, thank you so much for that question. And this is also related, I think, to my answer to the previous question, where we're trying to identify what the best kind of opportunities are here to provide both technical assistance, to continue to help programs, to identify ways to make their nonprofits more sustainable, as well as what opportunities we can spread from the county side or other organizations that we know of for more funding opportunities. So we'll be doing more on that front to share information with everyone. At the same time, of course, the CFCI Advisory Committee is also a big part of this conversation about what happens around funding allocations and renewals. So again, I'd encourage everybody to stay engaged with those meetings.
Thank you. I'm in year 3 grant cycle and I'm in my second year of funding. Are there any grants I can apply for as of today?
Not through the CFCI grants at this stage, but there will be more opportunities that pop up over the next few months around this. And we'll work on, I mean, I loved that idea around us being able to share some more opportunities through other county departments. So we'll work on trying to identify if there's anything that we can share with you guys in the near term.
Thank you. This might have been already answered, but are these extensions at no cost?
They're not no-cost extensions. So these extensions for program areas 1 through 7 and program areas 9 through 21, you will continue to get your quarterly allocation through June 30th of 2027. And because the question of extension is coming up a lot, I'm my gut is telling me that I need to clarify something. So when we say, and I know that this is terminology, so I'm going to give just a little glossary of terms. Whenever you hear the term year 1 and year 2 and whatever else, we're at year 5 right now, it is not referring to the 36 months. Year 1 means the spending plan that listed program areas 1 through 7. The spending plan that has those program areas on it is called year 1. And year 1 lasts for 36 months. And in this term, year 1 started in March of 2023, and 36 months later would have been February 2026, and that got extended to June of 2027. So they added 16 months to that. So that's what year 1 is. Year 2 is the spending plan that has program areas 9 through 21. They started in December of 2023 and they would have ended in November of 2026. They got extended until June 30th of 2027. So these are not no-cost extensions. These are, you're going to continue to get the quarterly allocation through June of 2027. And I hope that helps.
Thank you, Ruth. The next question looks like Aloka's responding to in the chat regarding procurement and contracting. Let's see. Will there be?
I'll
Oh, go
just
ahead.
share out loud since I mean, you said my name, so I was like, oh, maybe I should talk. I just wanted to let folks know that I answered this question about the JCOD master agreement for any folks who have been accepted onto that agreement. That is a contracts and solicitation question. So if you guys have any questions about how JCOD contracting works in our department, we'd be happy to share any of your questions directly with them because that's not as much of our wheelhouse as the Care First community investment work.
Thank you. Will there be other opportunities to get plugged into the network?
Which network?
Maybe that individual can provide additional context there. Lots of thank yous. Someone said, how do we know if we're year one versus year two? I think Ruth answered that, but to reiterate, program areas 1 through 7 are going to be year one, and then 9 through 21 are year two. Someone asked, milestones are due. How do we get them in Apricot? I believe you're referring to the extension milestones. You can just send those directly to the individual at Amity that you're working with. And Fred, I believe for you, that's me. So go ahead and just send them to me directly. Okay. A lot of these questions, I think, Ruth, you answered with your extension explanation, which was really helpful. Thank you. Will your 3 grantees receive an extension?
Go for it, Aloka.
There haven't been any decisions about that.
Thank you. Someone said, can you share more information on how the Incubation Academy works?
Yes, I'm gonna jump back to the slide real quick. All right. So Incubation Academy, it's a 12, right now, it's a 12-week intensive program. It has a in-person live kickoff. There is a live graduation at the end. They are at the 10th cohort right now. And there is a wait list for the new incoming participants. To get into Incubation Academy, you have to meet certain requirements, and most people that are in the CFCI Care Grant program will meet that. You get executive coaching, you get mentoring, a lot of technical assistance, and you get a little bit of funding. So you get some funding access. Um, I think that that's it. There are usually 25 to 30 organizations that are invited into a cohort or accepted into a cohort. Once you're accepted into the cohort, the executive director usually and one other staff, so 2 people from the organization will attend every single class. The classes meet once a week, and I think they're 2 hours long. I could be wrong. I don't have the full details, but they meet via Zoom. So the very first session is in person. The very last session is a graduation, and throughout the 12 weeks, there may be one other in person, but throughout the 12 weeks, they are a virtual class.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ruth.
you.
Let's see. Some questions about payment. So who can we go to for support on challenges with payment?
I would just note that Amity continues to be your main point of contact for continued support on technical assistance activities as well as things around payment. But I wanted to reiterate that we are continuing to try to identify continued solutions that will impact everybody to ensure that you guys are receiving your payments on time, as well as making that process less onerous wherever we can.
Thank you, Luca. This is a good question. How can we find out if we're on the incubator waiting list?
That's a good question.
Great question.
It if you have applied for Incubation Academy, um, you should hear back from the staff at Incubation Academy. If you have not, I'm not sure if they have, I know that they have a website, but this is something that I can find out. And when we give you back the information for this presentation, I'll have the answer in like a FAQ portion.
Thank you, Ruth. Let's see. Is there a maximum org budget restriction for grantees?
For CFCI grantees, is there a maximum budget restriction?
Yes, I believe that's the question.
Not at this time. There are priority points given to organizations below a certain threshold of their operation budget, but there's no maximum at this time.
Thank you. Let's see. If we have a fiscal sponsor and don't have our own 501(c)(3), are we eligible for the Incubator Academy?
Yes, I believe so. Because there are some organizations with fiscal sponsors that have applied to the Incubation Academy. When you apply to Incubation Academy with a fiscal sponsor, the fiscal sponsor needs to be in LA County. If your fiscal sponsor is outside of LA County, there may be a challenge.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay, this must have been in response to something that was said earlier. We're a little timing behind. The county departments aren't contracting with CBOs. Instead, they returned collectively 42 million to general fund. Is there a future plan to take funding away from them and give it to JCOD?
I'll let Aloka go for that one.
So I will say that many county departments do contract with the community-based organizations, and we're preparing some more information to share with the public about how many county departments and programs are involved with community-based organizations so that everyone has a sense of how they can access those opportunities. So please look out for more information on that through the CFCI Advisory Committee space in coming months. We're working hard with them on how to distribute that info. There's going to continue to be decisions, of course, by the advisory committee on recommending how future funding allocations go. So they will remain the primary advisory body behind any future funding allocations. So please do, again, can't shout this out enough. Come through to the committee meetings and let your voice be heard if there's things that you want to be changed about funding.
Thank you. Look, I will make sure to send that link out. Let's see. Is there a program done directly at JCOD for TAE?
There are at least a couple of programs that are targeted towards transitional aged youth. But we can, if you have any specific questions about the types of programming, we'd be happy to share that back with you all in an FAQ.
And I wonder if the question was, is there a TAE only program? And that's not the case right now. There are several programs that work with transitional age youth, but there's not a TAE only program.
Thank you. Let's see. I see some questions about not being notified of the extension yet. If you have not heard from us, please reach out to your grant advocate, but I'm also taking note of the names who need to be reached out to ensure that someone from your organization has been contacted. Someone says, is a master agreement with the county required to apply for a grant?
No. So you don't have to be on a master agreement list to apply for CFCI care grants.
Thank you. Let's see. When I applied for the year 3 grant cycle, I requested $1.2 million, but was awarded $750,000. Can the number be increased now?
That question is a question for the TPA for Amity.
I think if you have that specific question, I let's touch base privately. Daryl, if you want to reach out to somebody from the Amity team, your grant advocate. Let's see. Will this PowerPoint be shared with us? Yes, the slides and the recording will be shared with you. And some of these I think we answered a few times, so I'm just making sure we didn't miss anyone. Okay, is spending area the same thing as service area? For example, the Antelope Valley would be service area 1.
No, so the program areas are not the same as a service area. The programs that you work in, um, the service area or the spa and the supervisorial district are two different things. So spa is service planning areas, and we have 1 through 8. And then there are supervisorial districts, which is 1 through 5. And then you have program areas, which are the programs that you all work in, and they're all three different things. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. Let's see. Okay. Since year 1 grant extensions were for 2-year totals, is it possible to advocate for a similar extension of 2 years for year 2 rather than just 6 months? Otherwise, those service categories, emphasis, for example, in year 2 to reach youth, would get less resources than the services and populations prioritized in year 1.
The decision to extend the different years was to go all the way to 2027. The amount of funding that went for the year 1 grantees was 18.5 million. The amount of funding for year 2 grantees was almost twice that, and it was over 40 million. So the year 1 grantees, because they got substantially less across the board than all of the other spending plans, the decision was made by the advisory committee and JCOD to extend the way that it was. Aluka, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
I was going to thank you, Ruth, for sharing a little bit more of the rationale behind that. And just in response to this question, one more thing that I would add is, again, because the advisory committee was making this judgment based on a few different factors, including the ones that Ruth mentioned. If any decisions were made differently, it would be by the advisory committee for additional changes. So we wouldn't have any information on that right now.
Thank you. When are applications due for the next cohort of Incubation Academy?
That's a good question, and I am not 100%. I see that there are hands raised, so I'll look it up and I'll come back and let us know.
Perfect. Thank you. I see some specific payments about organizations, payments, and extension. Please reach out to your grant advocate for specific questions. Um, let's see. Oh, someone's asking for the location to the advisory meetings.
If you navigate to the link that I put into the chat, you'll be able to see the agendas for the advisory committee meetings, the location, as well as a Zoom link if you want to participate remotely.
Thank you. Have you heard anything about additional funding for the DYD Ray program? Okay. Let's see. Can grantees reapply for CFCI when RFPs are released? And that's the last question in the Q&A section for now. And then we'll go to the hands raised.
Yes. I just wanted to respond to a question in the chat about why we're presenting today. This may be on folks' minds because this is the first time that JCOD is coming in to share more information, but this is just a part of our approach that we're trying to change to be a little bit more collaborative with you all. Has no bearing on Amity going away. Amity is still here. We're just also here to show up as a resource. Ruth, is there anything else that you want to share on that?
The only thing that I would say is sorry it took us so long. I think Aloka may have mentioned this. I don't know if she did or not, but this whole CFCI huge ecosystem, huge program was built by a very small group of people, and we're expanding and expanding. The CFCI infrastructure at JCOD is growing and expanding. So things that may, let's say, should have been in place are now being put in place. So slowly things are starting to change because we're building the plane. The plane is still being built and the plane is flying. So that's why we're here. Sorry it took us so long to get here, but we're here now.
Thank you. And I did see a few repeat questions come up in the Q&A section. If it repeated, I believe we already had answered it. But I'll make sure that those questions are also available in the recording. And now we'll go to hands raised. So I'm gonna request that you unmute, and then you can go ahead and ask your question, Carrie Irving. I know hands are raised for a little while. Maybe Carrie had to step away. Okay, we will go to Amy.
Oh, okay. I was like, ooh, am I unmuted?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
you are. Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was like, how do I unmute? Okay. My question is, I don't think our organization qualified for the Incubation Academy because we're not like a brand new organization. We're like 40 years old. However, we could use help because we are trying to contract with the county through the Department of, or the state through the Department of Mental Health. And that is super complicated and really hard program organization to figure out. And so I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for us on how we could break into that system because I know that this money has helped us to get to the point where we're able to contract with the Department of Mental Health, but it's just breaking into that whole system is really hard. And that is my question. Any suggestions or maybe an incubation academy for breaking into the larger organizations that are really hard to do?
Go ahead, Ruth. Amy, I really appreciate that question. And Ruth, I'd love for you to take a stab at answering it.
So the we realize that incubation academy style approaches may need to be expanded. So that's the conversation that Aloka and I have had very recently. And so, Amy, keep looking out for information about how that's going to roll out. The current Incubation Academy may stay that way, the way that it is, but we may be bringing on a, another aspect or another look and feel to provide care grantees who may not qualify for the current Incubation Academy to get to still be given some resources. Aloka?
Yeah, and I also want to say that I love this as a potential idea for a future webinar. I know we shared some potential topics in one of the last slides of this presentation, and we'll continue to build out what the curriculum can look like. But Amy, your point is well taken, and I think it's really going to be really important for us moving forward to create more of those opportunities to learn about how to break into the county department contracting space.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both. The next person with their hand up is Dr. Williams.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this awesome meeting. It has been a wealth of knowledge and information. I asked the question in the chat, but I'm not sure if this was a question that I should have directed to my grant advocate because it wasn't answered. But all of the year ones, given that we were kind of wrapping up and then we were provided the information that we would receive an extension. Now I'm wondering, will our next payment be 15% of our award or will it be the traditional 25 so that we don't have an interruption of services? And my grant, I haven't reached out to my grant advocate yet about that information. Do you guys have any insight on that?
This, sorry, Ruth, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel
Yeah.
like this is definitely an Amity question, but this is what I know, the little that I do know. Um, the quarterly disbursements are 25% of what your annual allocation is. When it breaks down to the 15 and then 10, that's only on your very last payment. So since your last payment is now going to be in the last quarter, pushed back, I don't think, I think you would be getting the full 25.
Okay, thank you for that information. I appreciate you guys.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Carol, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Hi, Dr. Williams. Thank you for asking that question. It will be the 15%.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that information.
No problem.
So then I have a follow-up question for that. So then is our next payment going to be 35% to include the 10 and to kind of offset the difference, or would it be 10 and then 25? Would it start over?
It would be 15 for your first payment, and then the 10% would be, Joanne, I don't know if this is correct. The 10% would be paid.
At the closing of the next quarterly reporting.
Correct.
And then once the new contracts are implemented, then you'll get the 25% payment on the 16-month extension.
That's right. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So it is going to be the 25 and then 10%.
And then 10. And then the 16-month will begin, and then you'll get the 25.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
If I can quickly address, I see that a lot of the year two grantees are asking about the extension. I sent out the email on 12/22. I'm going to resend it to all the year two grantees. All the year one grantees have already been contacted and working. We are working on documents, gathering those documents for the year one extension. We will be, after those contracts are signed, we will be reaching out to the year two grantees, and that's 9 through 21. to collect those documents to work on your extensions. But I will resend out the email that was sent out on the extensions, and I'll send that out today.
Thanks, everyone. Let's see, Daryl, if you want to go ahead and unmute.
Yes, thank you for having me. My question is, I had signed up for the incubator, the previous one that I guess they have it now. I received the email saying it was a hard choice, but I was not chosen. Is there any way I can find out why I was not chosen so I can do better next time? I don't know why I was not chosen, but I would like to find out if it's something, I don't know, maybe it's just too many people. I don't know. I can't even really say why, but I like to find out why so I could do better in the future applying for the incubator.
Daryl, I appreciate you being vulnerable in this space and sharing that. And I am Ruth and I can look into what Incubation Academy's feedback process looks like to see if there's anything more that they can share.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we will, Carrie, I still see your hand up. I don't know if maybe you stepped away. I'm gonna try to unmute one more time and see if Carrie wants to ask her question. Okay, maybe she stepped away. Okay, so that was all the hands raised we had. If we were not able to get to your question in the Q&A, please feel free to follow up with me. You all have my email. That's how you received this invitation, and we will get you the answers. And then, like I said, we'll send out the slides and the recording and the invitation for the advisory meeting tomorrow. Am I forgetting anything, Aloka or Ruth?
No, but I want to iterate our thanks to the Amity team for working with us and being so supportive to grantees. Ruth and I are really grateful for all of your work and really appreciate that we have you as partners in this.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the work that you do.
Yes, thank you. Thank you both.
And thank you to all of the grantees who joined us today and the incredible work they're doing in the community. Thank you, Ruth, for your great presentation. It was very informative, and you got a lot of really great feedback in the Q&A. So thank you.
Do you have any closing words, Ruth, for the group?
I'll say this. The work that all of us are doing, we're all on the same team. We're on team Care First, Jails Last. That's the team name that I'm calling this. And I want us to all just be strong. I know that when JCOD and CFCI first started, there were a lot of questions that were not answered. And the hope going forward is that we're not in this state of ambiguity. The last thing I'll say is clarity is kindness for you and me. So my desire is to be as clear as possible. And that's what the start of this is. So everyone that's on the call that's still here, and to my my counterparts at Amity, I am so thankful and so grateful for you all. I'm so grateful and thankful for this opportunity to be able to present today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Loka. I'm happy to partner with JCOD.
This was an awesome presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And you're getting a lot of thank yous, and this is really informative in the Q&A. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
See you all
Everyone
next
have a
time.
wonderful day. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.